Hi guys. So I know my posts have been all over the place and people are probably like, what is going on? So my intentions when I came to TikTok was just to use my voice to uplift people and to spread some positivity in the world. But while doing so, I know you guys see my TikTok name and it says Proud Autism Mom because I am a mother to a child with autism. She was late diagnosed. She was diagnosed in November of 2023. It basically started out, and I kind of noticed that she was different when she was a baby because her tantrums would last a very, very, very long time. And there was a point in time where she would not speak to me. Then it got to a point where she would, but her speech was very distorted. And I always knew that it was something happening with her. And then even in daycare, they would just tell me certain things about her. But I still had no clue that she was autistic. I knew deep down that there was something going on, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And in daycare, it was a little different. So basically, a very tragic event happened in our lives. I lost someone very dear to me. So I relocated out of that environment that was very familiar to her and the people that was very familiar to her too. And when we relocated, her behavior and her tantrums got a lot worse. And for me, I thought it was the grief or just that particular person not being in her life. And it in fact was all of those things, but it was a big change for her, and it was a lot of changes, and it was a lot of changes fast. So when we transitioned to the new environment, she didn't really take it well. So her dysregulation became more intense. And when she switched to a structured environment, which regularly would be good, but in this scenario, when she started going to school, it wasn't good. It was very tough for her. And I would get a lot of phone calls about her behavior. And at the time, I knew that it was something more. And people began to basically scrutinize me as if I was the problem or was something that I was doing at home. And despite working full time, I was doing everything that I possibly could for her with the 24 hours that I had, right? And it was a lot of transitions throughout the day for her too, which was probably a strain as well. So it was a lot of negative experiences for her in that particular location where we lived at in that particular school. And the school organization. And for me as a parent, in my heart of hearts, I knew that the box that she was being put in, because at this time period, she was a kindergartner. And I know that for me as a parent, we kind of did a lot of things together, but we were very close and still are. So for me, I couldn't understand what it was that was going on. And for her to be like, it basically seemed like she was in excruciating pain, from the dysregulation she was having with the tantrums. And so as a mom, I started to really sought out what I could do to help her. And like I was saying, the box that she was being put in, it didn't fit. So as I started searching, and there were so many neurodivergent titles that was given out to her, but she didn't fit those. I knew it was something more. Like my mother instinct was telling me to keep searching. So I did. And through my frustration, I was crying out for help. And I'm not really sure if the people I was going to didn't have the solutions or didn't have the help, or if it was that I was also, on top of my daughter being put in a box, I was put in a box as well, for various reasons, right? And so it took me a long time to be able to get her diagnosis, because I was on a path to wanting my daughter to get the help she needs so she could thrive in a school environment, because that's very vital for her, you know, and very vital to, I'm sure, most parents. But this is just me, you know, sharing my story. And so I finally met someone that told me where to go to get the first type of diagnosis that she needed. And we went and we got it. And then I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? I was still lost, because I'm like, okay, so now what? And then that's when I started to understand what occupational therapy is after doing my own research. I started to understand what ABA therapy was. And I started to really understand the fact that my daughter she had a reading problem. And it surfaced when she was in kindergarten. And then I started to understand that it was a little bit more to the reading problem. It was a processing problem. And so as I began to understand all of these things about her, to want to help her, the environment that I was in did not, and I'm still in the environment, did not like it. They did not care. In fact, it probably made a lot of them very angry. And so that's why you see the posts that you see about me saying, you know, about the harassment and about what's happening. Because as I sought out to not necessarily change my daughter's narrative, but dig deeper, instead of labeling her as a problem, I wanted to get to the source of what the problem was. And as a mother, as I did that, people didn't like it. People didn't like it. And so when we would go different places, there would be people there that would scrutinize us.